What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami here at Fan Expo Denver 2022 with
Dave Dwonch
and
Travis Hymel.
And for people who might not know who you are you and what do you do?
Oh, Travis, you start.
Oh boy. I'm a penciler inker. I live out here in Colorado. You would primarily know me for Trailer Park Boys, do a lot of covers and interiors to Trailer Park Boys. Also the creator-owned series Arc World, and hopefully soon the Loose End by me and this guy, Dave Dwonch.
And I'm Dave Dwonch. Currently I'm writing a book with my best friend Brockton McKinney over at Dark Horse called Jenny Zero. And oh gosh, storied past, I've put out a ton of books. Most people would know me from Cyrus Perkins' The Haunted Taxi Cab. If you play video games, you'll know me from a Nintendo game called New Super Lucky's Tale, which I co-wrote with the writing team. I've been all over the place and worked on weird comics for the UFC, the NFL, the NBA. Yeah, I'm just all over the place.
So you said you're from Colorado.
Well, not from, I live here now.
You live here now?
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
Well, it's easy to say the New Orleans metro area in Louisiana, what I'm saying.
And I'm from the California Bay Area, and then LA for a time, and now I'm here in Colorado with Travis.
And what brought you guys to Colorado?
Travis. No, for me it was the pandemic. We were on the beach. My wife was working for Amazon Originals, and they closed the office. That was sign one, that we didn't need to be there, and then sign two was the beach that we were living on got closed too. So there was really no point in being there, and I had been to Denver Comic Con a bunch of times, fell in love with the area, and during COVID we decided to move.
I was enticed to come for a dog in breweries. Actually, it's seriously, my wife got a job out here, and she's like, I know you don't want to move to Colorado, but we can get a dog, and there's tons of breweries.
And you were in San Francisco before that, right?
Yeah, I was living around the Bay Area before this, so went from Louisiana, the Bay Area, which I didn't really care for. So, moving again, I wanted to move back home to Louisiana, but when it was Colorado, I was like, I don't know, I love it here now. It's freaking great.
Yeah.
And the breweries and the dog help. Definitely help.
Yeah, Karolika and I moved to Colorado in 2006 from Buffalo, New York. And it was an interesting experience. Like, one of the first times we got here, somebody on the street was like, hello, and we're like, hello, and we're just waiting there for him to ask us for something, but he just kept on walking, and we're like, okay, he doesn't want anything?
My first weekend in San Francisco, walking around normal clothes, shorts, shirt, I said, hi, good morning. I'm used to saying that. I don't have any change, leave me alone. I said, all right. And I really had to look at myself, like, do I look like a homo or something?
I mean, but a really good-looking, pretty cleaned-up homo is the way I describe Travis. Yeah.
So
this is why we have a working dynamic. He makes me feel good about myself. I put him down.
Oh God, yeah,
It's a vicious cycle.
He's a tough one, man. Let me tell you, jeez.
So what got you into comics?
Well, specifically, and I have a panel tomorrow, so I've got this story, but when I was a kid, I was, and I think I was around 12, I went to a convention in Oakland called WonderCon, and at the time it was like the San Diego of the Bay Area, and I went to go get a Captain America book signed by Mark Gruenwald, who was the editor-in-chief of Marvel at the time and also the writer of Captain America, and he opened it up, and there was a misprint on the first page that he was going to sign. And he looked over at his assistant and said, you gotta go find this kid a replacement. And the guy was like, what? And Mark was like, go find this kid a replacement. So the guy goes and leaves, and I'm just standing there awkwardly, like waiting for this book to come back. And Mark was like, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I told him I wanted to draw. At the time I was an artist. And he said, well, why don't you sit down and wait with me, and we'll talk about making comic books. And I sat there for an hour and a half while this poor kid is looking for this comic book, and it inspired me to become a creator. And I mean, henceforth, I was always a Captain America fan, always a Mark Gruenwald fan, Squadron Supreme, all that good stuff. He was just an amazing man that just influenced me. And now, anytime a kid comes up to the table, I do the same exact thing. if someone's interested in making comics, I just say come back around and let's talk. So he paid it forward with me, and I try to pay it forward as much as I possibly can.
At least he inspired you not to become an assistant.
Well, you got to get your start somewhere. That assistant's probably, I don't know, Joe Quesada or something. I don't know that one.
I have to ask, did you get your comic?
I did.
Okay, that was the important story.
And Mark passed away in I think in the early 2000s, and only like 3 what I'll call celebrity deaths really got me, and he was one. I mean, so he's right up there with Prince and Freddie Mercury and Mark Hymel. Those are my 3 heroes in life, and sadly none of them are with us now. Yeah. Sorry, I brought it down. Geez, that was awful.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
What about you?
Yeah. Well,
Top that, son.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what made me want to get into comics?
Yes.
Well, to be a freelance artist, I definitely hate money. So that's why I definitely chose that route.
He doesn't hate my money when I pay him for pages, though.
Oh,
right?
God.
Come on.
No, I love being a storyteller. And that's what I really do with my pages. I mean, granted, that's all when it comes to visual medium, right? And the artist is telling the story along with the script from the writer and everything. And I love bringing that to life. It's a challenge. It's almost like sometimes you're putting a puzzle together. Sometimes from how you're composing the page, and you're also thinking about how to engage the reader and make them want to finish reading the story, right? You might have compelling words, but if your story that I'm drawing, the story I'm drawing doesn't go with that, it kind of kills it.
Yeah.
So that's fun to me. That's a huge part of being an artist for me, is to kind of add that to it.
And so we've got some comic books here that you guys have that you've worked on. What is it? Let's tell the audience about this one.
So we have Arc Road. It's written by Josh Blaylock. He is not only a writer, he's also the publisher of Devil's Due Comics. They've been around since 2001. I think they just finished doing to be their anniversary soon. But this is his baby. He is really into theories on ancient peoples. So he distilled a lot of different theories from different books, different articles, onto this book, and it centers around a couple in 10,000 BCE who get caught in a deep state conspiracy. So we have that along with all these cool visuals of things like how ancient people were actually carving stone or what their vehicles were, and all these ancient weapons based on these theories that Josh found out. And at the end of every book, we kind of go through and we talk about what what theories and ideas were used for this book. So it's pretty cool. I really enjoy picking it up. Also, there's Trailer Park Boys, which is based on the Netflix show, which that one's more comedy and just pure fun. This is a little bit more serious, but if you're into comedy, definitely check out the Trailer Park Boys.
So I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick my favorite, and let me see if I can grab it. So this is Simon Perkins' The Haunted Taxi Cab. I know I don't look like I'm almost 50, but I'm super old and also a vampire. But when I turned 40, like everything about me failed. Like physically, I started like really having a lot of issues, and I thought I had food poisoning, and it turned out to be my gallbladder failing, but I sat on it for like a week, which was like the worst and dumbest thing I probably have ever done in my life. I called the hospital and I asked them to, I asked them what was wrong. They were like, definitely not food poisoning. They were going to call me an ambulance, and I said, no, you're going to charge me $10,000 for this ride. And they just kind of sighed and said, well, then call a cab. So I crawled into the cab, and I told the driver that if I died in the cab, I would haunt it. And so I got out of surgery and wrote a story about a little boy that dies in the back of a taxi cab and then winds up haunting the driver into solving his murder. Oddly, I've had a lot of weird ghost stories happen in my life, and so ghosts are like really, really a big part of what I do thematically in horror comics. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorites.
So if you could have any of your comics that you've worked on turned into a movie, which would you pick?
I mean, obviously, the one that he and I are working on now,
Yes.
no one's really seen it, and we have pages on the table to show people, and everyone that hears the story reacts really positively towards it. And I think it would make a great movie because it's about Hollywood, and so it really is super meta.
Well, what Dave's been saying from the get-go, too, it's the mirror match movies from the 90s that never got made.
Yeah.
And we take like analogs from that time from like actors and directors. So like in Tarantino, we have a version of that character in here. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Mickey Rourke. We have those kind of archetypes.
Good old Harvey is the antagonist in this story. So it's, I mean, and again, they're analogs, and if you know anything about Hollywood, you're going to appreciate it. If you like crime series, you're going to like it. And if you like really messed up buddy comedies, it's all of those things and more. So.
I think of it like almost like like there's a movie called Very Bad Things.
Yeah.
Like because it's a bachelor party, and there's a bachelor party in this book, and anything that could go wrong does go wrong for the book and these characters.
Yeah, and I get to write a story about them breaking into a veterinarian clinic, so that's always awesome for drugs. That's weird,
that's
right?
a bucket list thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Have you guys ever seen The Nice Guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
It's
that
great.
movie, actually.
It's great.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what I was thinking when you were talking about that. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
It's got that noir vibe.
Yes.
You know, I get what you're saying, because that was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch Nice Guys. Yeah. We're not being paid yet for that plug.
That endorsement?
Yeah,
Right,
for
right.
Nice Guys. Now on Hulu.
well. And you know, for $7.99, you can get it without commercials. So, cool.
Now, you talked about your influences of who got you. What about you? Did you have any influences that made you want to be into art?
Well, as far as like it depends. It's kind of a loaded question. Like I have art influence, but like what made me want to be an artist is just picking up books. Like my mom always encouraged it. Like that's what I lived at a time where I set spinner racks at comic book shops and at drugstores. So I'd go and pick out a book. My mom always encouraged that, and she knew I loved to draw. So she would always encourage me to like kind of read and try to draw on my own, draw the characters. And in terms of like art influences, more so like I would say like Alex Toth, Will Eisner, Ryan Otley, who's here, is a kind of big influence because I really like the way their characters act in there. And it sounds pretentious, but when you draw something like that, you're actually having these characters act and perform for each little panel that you're drawing. So I think those guys are really like kind of elevate the art form. So that's what I kind of look at. I have a few more influence, but those are the big ones.
Now, everyone always has, when they're drawing a body, a piece of the body that is their least favorite part to draw. What is your least favorite part?
I mean, hands were always tough because a closed fist is easy, but if you do it wrong, it looks like a mitten, right? And then if you're drawing it in perspective, then that's a tough thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So I had whole sketchbooks when I was an artist of just hands, just to get it down.
Yeah.
That sounds handy.
Well, you just took my I don't want to just do that. So right pinky toe, just the right pinky toe. That's the hardest thing.
Feet are rough
no,
too,
it's
though.
hands.
Yeah,
it really is.
hands.
Everyone's gonna say hands. Maybe 75% would probably say hands because you have like different angles that you have to do, and you have a hand obviously as a reference, and you still can't get it right.
Oh,
don't know.
My bachelor's is in fine arts, and we had to draw models in my art classes. And yeah, drawing the hands were like the hardest thing because especially depending how they have them, you're like, okay, got to make sure that one's the exact right length. That one's got to be up in that direction. Or I also sometimes had trouble with feet where I felt like I went to the Rob Liefeld School of drawing feet.
How dare you, sir?
That 2-day program.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Jeez, I like Rob actually. Sorry, dude.
I heard he's nothing but nice.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
That's what social media links can people find you at?
Oh, I'm easy. It's just my name it's Dave Dwonch. So it's just at Dave Dwonch on all of the social medias, and you can find me at hellbrain.com. That's my studio.
You can find me at artoftravishymel.com. That's Hymel, or on Instagram or Twitter at Travis_Hymel, Hymel, and find me there.
Any final words for my viewers?
Yeah, well, look for The Loose End is the book that we're working on. Look for that. I want to say next year I'm pretty confident. It's going to find a
It's like a Field of Dreams thing. If we get out to the audience, it's like if we build it, they will come, and then we'll get the publisher as well, right? That's the whole mentality.
Right.
Oh my God, Field of Dreams.
So what you're saying is if it gets popular enough this year, you have to thank me for it.
Yes.
That's right, guys. In the comments right now, put in "We want the loose end." That sounds dirty, but we want the loose end, and it will happen.
He stole my Bumble profile name.
Yeah.
The Loose End.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And until next time, bye.
I have to do it.